Hi, I'm Alex and welcome to Dreams of Green. We're here in Kyogle on our 10-acre property in northern New South Wales, Australia. And today I am going to do a major overhaul of this food forest, which is getting on probably close to about 4 years old now. And you can see it has never had a major chop and drop. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to show you as well what my secret weapon is to be able to deal with all this amazing biomass. The other thing as well, it has all been propagated from seed. I have purchased just a couple of trees from Daly's down the road, but the majority that you're going to see here today has all been propagated on site. So let's go. I'm going to take you for a tour and you're going to see the before and the after of this major food forest makeover. Let's go. So you can see over here we've got our native timber forest, we've got our main food forest over on this hill, there's our dam, and as we come along here, this was the very first food forest that I started. So this was a small food forest plot with, as I said, mostly trees I've just propagated at home, and because my focus hasn't been here, it's been elsewhere. You can see this is completely overgrown with this long Soteria grass. We've got twining vines as I bash my way through here. Here's the state of the food forest. So the beauty is it's all planted on contour, and this grass is actually starting to get shaded out, which is fantastic. But the problem is we've got to be able to get in here to mow. You can see here, this is all starting to get shaded out. But we've had a storm that's come through, so we've lost limbs here from this acacia, and you can see the shade's starting to get quite dense now. So it's time to do some major pruning, and also we've got a lot of gaps here of trees where I wanted to plant some other fruit trees as we got canopy. So here it's all getting shaded out, and we've got a beautiful microclimate. We've got custard apples here. I'll take you of a tour of, got mulberry. I'll take you of a tour of all the fruit trees, but in the meantime, what a mess. But this is just a great demonstration. Even though we have not been in here for months and months, there's no irrigation whatsoever. You can see that all of the trees are coping very well, just on their own without any interference from us. Today we've got to bring out the big guns. We have our camping generator, and we've only got an electric chainsaw, but that's okay. We're going to hook it up to the generator here, and we've got the heavy duty brush cutters to start getting rid of that grass first before we do our major prune. So Dale, did you want to start the generator and we'll get this chainsaw up and running? There's hopefully it'll start. There's some trees that have come across the pathways up here, so it's really hard to get access. So first we'll clear those from the storm and then be able to get in there. So this is what we've got to clear here. This is one that split off during a storm that came through. So we're just going to clear this one first, and then we can gain access to get rid of all this grass. You can see how this acacia has split in the storm. This acacia was propagated from seed a few years ago, and we're just going to cut this. Go for it, Dale. And now we can get this out of the pathway so we can attack the rest of the food forest. So this is the first of my secret weapons for the food forest. This is just a little mini electric chainsaw from Stihl, and this is great because you can carry it around with the ride-on mower, and it's so easy to use. So we're just going to take these limbs off to make it easier to remove. And then all of this, the acacias are a nitrogen fixer, so this is going to be great chop and drop mulch for the food forest. And if you stick to the end, I'm going to show you how you can actually arrange this in your food forest for maximum effect to help slow the runoff of water as well as feed your target species or your fruit trees. And we were just using a hand saw, and as you can imagine, poor Dale having to go into the tree rows after a storm, it was very labour intensive, so this has really speeded things up for us. All right, we've got a clear path. I'll take this one out. So now we've cleared that branch with the chainsaw. Now to make life easier, we're going to get rid of that really long grass. And we're going to use, this is our mower, it's a Razorback mower. The reason we got it is it's got a really low centre of gravity. So because we've planted on contour, we can't have something up high because the risk of rolling is too great. So this is fantastic because even that long Soteria grass, if I just go slowly along, it can get through that. It can also chop up really small branches and things like that. So I really, really love this machine. So let's start clearing some pathways. is coming through this row on the mower, and I found Dale up in a tree cutting back this branch that unfortunately snapped off during a bad storm we had. And to think that this whole tree was just a seed 4 years ago is quite extraordinary. So I'm going to show you on later in the video how we're going to deal with these big branches as well.
Oh, spider.
We've got spiders, lizards, all sorts of things up in this tree. But look at the shade these are creating, absolutely beautiful. So I'll leave Dale to do that, and I'm going to continue mowing the rest of these rows with the mower. So as you can see, I have finished with the Razorback for now. So we've got nice pathways in between these tree rows. We can start to see what we're actually dealing with. And now the next phase is getting on the brush cutters just to tidy up the grass in between these trees. So we're starting to find things like custard apple. This is planted by seed, no irrigation, no attention whatsoever, and that's quite happy there. So it's good to see. We have, what else have we got here? We've got a jackfruit here as well. That was propagated from seed. And then along these rows, I had left some gaps to plant fruit trees at a later date, because 4 years ago, this was just a rocky slope. There was no shade, not a lot of topsoil at all. And so this food forest, I've started out really heavily with fast-growing pioneers and support species. So it's a fun time now because, as I said, we can see what's doing really well. We've got mulberry through here. I'll take you down to the front row. I've been snacking on some ice cream bean as I've been going through the tree rows. So as I wander down, so we've got things like a loquat tree there. Let's have a look. We have, there's an ice cream bean there. There's another custard apple. This was just a little black sapote that I got from Daly's nursery down the road. The other ones I've just planted in the food forest I propagated myself from seed. So much clearer now. More loquats. So we've got Brazilian cherry here. So we've started to get our first fruit off this little one. They're like a red lantern, if you like. There's more loquats there. And as I step across this row, there's a felsa. So that little one is from Daly's. I've never tasted the berry, but so far it's proven to be quite hardy, which is great. And this front food forest row, as I walk along, I'm trying to find them now. Here's some guavas, and these guavas are propagated from seed, and they're beautiful and ready to eat. The fragrance of these as well, they are just so full of perfume, really fragrant floral. I'm just going to break that open now and show you what's inside. So that's the guava inside, and they're really lovely and juicy and sweet. This is what the fruit looks like inside. It is so juicy, so sweet. And those are the little seeds in there. I do have a video on how to propagate these as well. And of course, if you're wanting to learn more about how to propagate your own food forest from seed and cuttings, I've got a food forest course, which you can check out in the links below. But I love planting little snacks. So when you're working in the food forest, you can go along and collect little snacks along the way. Absolutely delicious. So you can see how important it is when planting a food forest. If you're doing it in rows or on contour, you can actually find where things are. If you've got random plantings, it's really hard to find things with a brush cutter. So we'll get started with this, tidy it up. have cleared all the grass from all the top rows of the food forest, and this is the first time all of the grass around each tree has been cleared pretty much since they were planted. So the way we've maintained it was with that ride-on mower in between the tree rows, and now we've got canopy, the young trees have got shelter. I'm just going to go through and clear any of these overhanging branches. And you can see too, this acacia, it's probably almost at the end. You can see the top has got green foliage. All of these lower limbs can go. They're not getting enough light now. So now that we've got that really full canopy, we actually want to create a bit more light for our target species, which are going to be our fruit trees. So I'll take these down and I'm going to show you, this was our first secret weapon. I'm going to show you the second secret weapon to show you how we're going to deal with all of these branches. And here is our second secret weapon. Now, a big shout out to Weedy from the Weedy Garden, because I helped him prune back his food forest. He has very generously lent me this to help us out, knowing that we had a huge chop and drop of our food forest to do. So I'm just going to start this one up. So I'm going to keep going with the rest of these branches, and because it's in a trailer I can put it back on the food forest up the top here. Now we want the chipper on flat ground, so that's why we've got it down here. Now we've got these kind of huge trees, so I just want to explain what I'm going to do. So basically I'm going to cut all these smaller branches off, feed them through the chipper, and then these long branches I'm going to take up to the food forest, and I'll show you how we're going to use them to mimic swales. It's a bit too steep to do swales here. We didn't have the earth moving equipment at the time, so that's why we planted on contour, kept that grass in, but now we're taking the grass away. I want to slow that flow of water and build up a bank of nutrients behind my tree rows. So I'll grab the mini chainsaw and I'll show you what I'm doing. And the reason we're not putting them back up on the food forest with all the branches, if we do have to go back in and mow, all of these get caught up in the brush cutter. So it's much easier just to leave a long, straight log like this without any little branches up in the food forest. So Dale's just bringing the last of those fallen acacia that have come down with that storm. So we've taken branches and branches. Now we've got a really easy to work with mulch that will break down a lot faster. I'll take you up now to the food forest and I'll show you what I'm going to do with these long branches. Okay, Okay, so now we've got our stripped down acacia logs. What we're going to do, I still need to take out a lot of these lower branches and run them through the chipper, but we're starting to lose daylight hours now. So what I'm doing is I'm using the trunks of these big trees so that these don't roll downhill, and I'm laying them right next to the trunks on contour, because what we want to do is build up all this mulch and slow the runoff of water. So we'll just put that there. Use these as my breaks if you like. We've still got some there. And then also if we need to run the rod on through, they're well out of the way. I think I'm still puffing. This hill is a lot steeper than it looks. So that's our little jackfruit there. So that's a nice break for this one. So that's wedged in and it won't then roll down and take out my little jackfruit tree. And you can see there's spaces here to add extra trees. And put that one there. And then I'm just going to keep continuing on as we continue to prune. So for example, where it's forked here, I'll take out that, we'll strip this off, run it through the mulcher, and we're just going to go through systematically these other branches here that you see that are quite low. This custard apple's getting up now, so we can take these off, and just get some nice height and create some more room for our target species. So second step, now that we've laid that on contour, I could have brought a rake, but that's okay, I've got gloves on. We're going to take all this mulch we've created and start laying this. You can see from the acacias, there's just so much here. And over time, this will just keep building up and help fertilize and feed our plants. So that's what we're going to do with the rest of the food forest. And now we've got a food forest we can actually access and enjoy. And again, see where the gaps are. I've got a nursery full of thousands of fruit trees, thousands of plants up at the house. So I'll choose some from the nursery and put them in the gaps. So there you have it. That's how to basically give your food forest a radical makeover. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you're wanting to learn more and learn how to propagate an entire food forest from seeds and cuttings, I do have a food forest course. Be sure to check that out. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.